Helen Keller. Helen crashed into the table and chairs. "Helen, I'm here," her mother said while crying and holding her daughter's little hands. Helen could neither see nor hear due to a terrible disease that affected her not long after she was born. The world was pitch black, and there was nothing to be heard for Helen, who also had trouble speaking. Watching Helen suffer made her mother cry every day. One day, Helen's father said, "We can't leave her like this. We should hire a teacher for Helen." Helen's parents hired a teacher named Sullivan. As soon as she came to their house, she happily greeted Helen. "You must be Helen. I'm Anne. It's nice to meet you." Helen shook off the teacher's hand, but Anne still gave her a warm embrace. "I was like you when I was at your age, poor Helen." The next day, it was supper time. Anne saw that Helen was eating the food with her hands, so she made her sit upright in the chair and eat properly using a fork. Anne took Helen for a stroll in the garden. She encouraged Helen to touch the flowers in the garden and the water in the fountain. While doing this, Anne wrote sentences on Helen's palm. "Helen, this is water. You write water like this." Helen couldn't hear what the teacher said, but she could feel what the teacher was writing on her palm. From then on, Anne continued to make Helen touch and feel things and wrote sentences on her palm to describe what they were to her. Anne even made Helen touch her lips and tongue as she talked to her, and made Helen imitate her in the same way. Finally, Helen could speak. "I love you, Dad, Mom, and Anne." "Well done, Helen." "Helen, let's go to school, make friends, and learn more things." Anne took Helen to Perkins School. Perkins School was a special education school for kids with special needs, like Helen. Helen learned many things through Braille books and learned how to interact with others as she made new friends. Helen studied very hard and entered university. Anne was still by her side, writing the contents of the lectures on Helen's palm. Helen studied hard, and she graduated as a top student. "Miss Sullivan, I want to help people with disabilities like me." "Helen, that's great. I'll help you." Helen made Braille books for people who couldn't see and gave talks to tell ordinary people about the difficulties that the disabled people have. "Disabled people have the right to be happy. Libraries should have books for them to read, and jobs should be created for them too." Helen Keller performed good deeds not only for the disabled, but also for the poor and people in need all over the world. "I can't see, but I can still smell. People must not live in dirty places like this." "Let women take part in the election too. Don't look down in shame or embarrassment. Lift your head up high." Helen Keller spent her entire life working for the disabled and the poor. There was someone who remained by her side for 49 years, and it was none other than her great teacher from childhood, Anne Sullivan. Anne's love gave Helen the willpower and courage to overcome her disabilities. and their story has given courage and hope to countless people around the world.